Hi, I'm Jonah, and this is a native flute learn to play tutorial for the Zuni Sunset song, a beautiful traditional song, as well as a really great example of a song that uses variations on a theme in order to create its structure. And what that is in this song is in the first and second phrase, a theme is set up, and then variations on that theme are used to create the song and the beauty of the song itself, while also having that underlying foundation that runs through the whole song of that original theme. This is a great way to create your own songs as well. Create a theme and make variations on that theme. Now I'm going to be playing this on a native flute in the key of G, but native flutes in any key will sound beautiful with this song. Now, the easiest way that I find to learn songs is to walk through them phrase by phrase. And a phrase is like the sentences that build the song. Essentially, each time you pause to take a breath, you've completed a phrase. In the sheet music, I note the phrases by using these numbers with slashes through them. Phrase 1, 2, 3, and so on. In this song, there are 3 notes that many of you will have not played before. There's this one, which is a cross fingering, meaning you'll have to open one hole while closing others to get to it. And it's a great note. If you haven't used it before, it'll be a good one to add into your repertoire. And these 2 notes, which don't require cross fingering to catch them, but they require that you open the 3rd finger from the top, which is often kept closed when playing the native flute. When you get to the places where those notes are used, have patience with yourself. It might take a bit to get the transitions from one note to the next. As I walk through each phrase, I'll note anything that's unusual or particularly challenging in that phrase, and then I'll show you how to play it, and I'll play it at a really slow tempo. At that point, I'd suggest pausing the video and working on that phrase until you have the fingerings and the rhythm pretty well down at that slow tempo, and then move on to the next. Once we've moved through the whole song, I'd suggest going back to the beginning and working through each phrase again. And slowly, each time you do that, bringing it up to tempo. And now I'll walk you through all the phrases. This is the first phrase of the Zuni Sunset song, and many of the notes in here are of those notes that are likely new to a lot of you. It's also the first part of the theme of the song. The first and the second phrase are really the theme of the song. And this is a common part of the theme where you have these quarter notes that are held for 1 beat that goes to 2 eighth notes that are slurred, and then to a final note or a final 2 notes. So that's a pretty common theme in this song. In phrase 2, which is the second part of the theme, we have these eighth notes that slur up, and then we have a set of quarter notes and then another set of eighth notes that slur down to either 1 or 2 notes to end the phrase. And that first and second phrase put together is the theme of the song, and you can see if you look through the sheet music and you kind of analyze the structure of the first and the second phrase, and you look through each of the other phrases, you'll see that the 3rd and the 4th phrase follow that structure, and the 5th and the 6th, and so on. Now this phrase also has a lot of those new notes in it, and those notes are really a big part of this song, and you'll find them throughout all the phrases of this song. The third phrase is an exact replica of the first phrase, so it's a repeat of the first part of the theme. The fourth phrase is an almost exact replica of the second phrase. The main difference is as you're coming off of these eighth notes, instead of going to a quarter note and then to a half note, you're going to a dotted half note, which gets 3 beats. Creates a kind of finality to this part of the song. Now the fifth phrase uses the same rhythmic notation as the first phrase and the third phrase, but the notes themselves are different. So there are some challenging cross fingerings in here, such as going from this note to this note, and in this case going from this note to this note to this note. So with those two different cross fingerings, it's actually kind of a run of cross fingerings here. You'll want to be patient with yourself and give yourself some time to work through those and start real slow to get your fingers to be able to move back and forth through these cross fingerings. So this combination so there's a lot of cross fingering there, so that might take a few, so give yourself some patience with that one. In the sixth phrase, we start off with this same combination of notes, from here to cross finger to cross finger. Give yourself some time with that. And then we move through these eighth notes and into this dotted half note, again, creating kind of a feeling of pausing or a sense of completion of this section of the song. Again, we have this. So we have that combination. It's a lot of cross fingering there, but it's a beautiful combination of notes. So it's worth learning. Phrase 7 is an exact replica of phrase 5. So once you've worked with phrase 5 a bit, phrase 7 will come along real easily as well. Phrase 8 is an exact replica of phrase 4, and this is a nice use of phrases to create variations on a theme. We have phrase 3 and 4, which is one variation of the theme, and we have phrases 7 and 8, which is another variation of the theme. And phrases 3 and 7 are different, while phrases 4 and 8 are the same. So when you combine these phrases that are the same with these other phrases that are different to create variations on the theme, each combination ends up having a different feel. So this is a nice way of bringing a phrase that's part of a theme back into the song while also creating a variation of the theme. And then we move into phrase 9 and phrase 10. And this is a way of completing the song where they take the last part of phrase 8 and then repeat it a number of times in order to give this feeling of finality. Hopefully this tutorial has helped you not only learn this really beautiful Zuni song, but has also given you some new notes, some new note combinations, and possibly a structure that you can use to create songs in your own everyday playing.